Hello students, welcome to the next session in the distributed systems. Today we are going to discuss about the naming and name service in NFS. See, already in the previous session we have discussed about the DFS, that is distributed file system, where this is a main mechanism where we are going to manage with n number of files, where any client asks for a particular file, then how the server is about to give the request, the response in the format of whatever the client is asking for. If client is asking for the opening of a file, immediately the server will be responding in such a way, and it will collect that particular file from wherever the path it is available in the network, and it will be giving the data back to the client. So this is a basic infrastructure whatever we are going to follow up in the distributed file system, and this distributed file system will be possible with the NFS. So NFS is nothing but network file system. We have a number of file systems also along with this, like client server file system. Already we have seen the architecture, how it is there in the NFS strategy. Then cluster based one in the previous session, that also we have seen. Along with this, we have also the Sun network file system, SNSF, NFS, and we have AFS also, Andrew file system. So all these are few file system types whatever we are going to see in the existing network file system. So now whatever the discussions we are maintaining at the time of this file system are dependent on mostly on the network file system. So that is the reason we are going to highlight network file system with all the required mechanisms or the features we call. So now we are moving for the naming and name service. See, in the naming we are going to see the main outline as the naming itself. See, first of all, naming is nothing but we are going to map the logical and also the physical objects together. See, nothing but the user can view content, hi, hello, how are you, right? So this content will be saved in a file format, and this file will be given with one name over there, and this naming will be again having two types of services. One is a path name service and also the mount service. So where we are mounting that particular file with that particular name is the location of that file, right? So path name is nothing but where these files are saved. I mean to say, what is a hierarchy of the file where we have saved that. So files are named by some combinations, right? The host names and the user name, the system name, and then the folder name. So this path, this is the path of that. Next is the mount service. Mounting is nothing but whenever a client requires a particular file, immediately that file, if it is not there in our file system, we'll collect from other server and then we'll mount to our remote directory. So this is nothing but we are going to collect the data and we are going to mount at our place for some time. After utilization, we are going to unmount it back. So this is nothing but the mounting and unmounting from remote directories to that particular local system. Coming to the name service. Naming is a mapping, and the name service, it's a mechanism how we are going to handle with the distributed files with few names, how we are giving the names and all. So giving the name is nothing but referring to a particular object. So that is what is a name service provided, and this can be done with the user applications. So whenever I am creating a file, so that is one of the application which is allowing me to create a file with some name, right? So all this can be done with the references only. Then user cannot communicate if we don't know their whatever the file name they have utilized. So we have to have the knowledge of the file names at all the systems. So the main points are the file names, so URLs and the domain names. If we are connecting to a network, domain names plays an important role also over there. Next, name is a resolve translator. See, if we are having a particular name to a file, so this name, with the name of that file only, we are going to operate all the operations, even though if it is like opening, reading, updating, whatever. So name will play an important role over there. And the next one is name and a particular object. See, wherever we have created a reference to that object, that is called as a name. Now what is the content we are maintaining to that real-time entity? So this association is called as a binding over there, right? Next, DNS is a domain name service, a domain name system, where we can map the domain names with the IP addresses. So the URLs can be highlighted over there as a domain names. So for example, if I have this particular IP address, this IP address can be named with the domain name service as a something www.abc.com, www.xyz.com. So this bonding will be taking place in the DNS server. So as per our discussions, the naming context is very important to set the bindings to your references and the objects. So whatever we are taking place in the distributed environment. See here, URL. So and so URL we are connecting. So with some path over here, so we'll be connecting to that particular path resource ID, and then from there every individual of the path will be taking individually, and then we will be collected with one file over there, right? This is a name service, so namespace. See, in the name service we have one feature called as namespace. This namespace is nothing but it is a collection of all valid names recognized by a particular service. So whatever the services we are about to see for a particular file, all the file names will be allocated at one space, right? So that space is called as a namespace. Of course, namespace will be handled with the only valid versions of the services. And here the names can be saved in two manners, flat names and also the hierarchy names. Hierarchy names will be like, following one, what we can say, levels. So if level, from one level, if it is like the level is internet, from there I want to go with the websites, then from there I want to go with a few application oriented. So like that the levels will be given in the hierarchy format. Flat spaces are like, it is a global context where it will be handled as a single line of space only. Okay, so of course compared to these two, hierarchy is very appropriately used in n number of systems than the flat namespaces. And this is all about the naming service and naming space and also naming service. Next one is domain name system. See, as we have just discussed about the domain name service or system or server, it will be handling all the names in one particular database across the network. So if I have google.com, so this particular website name or a particular domain name will be having internally n number of IP address combinations and all. So this performs name to IP mapping. Right. So DNS and reverse DNS is possible every time. So these are all the few domain name particulars what we are going to see in day-to-day life. Com is nothing but commercial. Education's purpose we go for edu. All the government websites will be having government.in.com. Next, MIL is for the military kind of things. Net is for totally network support centers. Okay. Next, organization, to a particular organization related content, and int will be the, these websites will be having access to all the international organizations. See, all these are few particulars we have to maintain when we are dealing with the DNS content, right? And along with this we have few other what we can say references also, like UK, IN, India, so kind of things. So all this will be also few references we have to maintain. Now the name service starts with one root node. From there layer, like we will be having a number of levels as we have discussed in the hierarchy process. So every level, the level will be reaching nearer to our file, right? So this name service, as we have just seen, root, and from the root we go with the particulars, and from the particulars we go to a particular session of the organization or else a particular military camp or else whatever. So the second level is the second level domain will be somewhat nearer. From there we go with the exact content version, and we will be reaching to the file content exactly at the lowest level. So this is all about the naming services. See, in the naming services, exactly one master will be available where we are dealing with the name servers. So one master server will be holding all the names of our particular execution process which is taking place, and all the remaining content will be the slaves over there. This is what is a client server architecture, right? And we have time to live also, because DNS server there will be maintaining a cache. So cache is nothing but the a space which is allocated for always, I mean the frequently utilized data. So time to live will be the one of the feature which will be added to the DNS server cache over there. So this is one of the DNS execution process which we are going to take place from the root node to the last node. So all these are about the naming and naming services. If you have any doubts in this, please be free to contact any time in the college. Thank you.